Electoral politics and democracy in Ghana. The background to elections in Ghana. So, based on your request and the historical nature of some of the content based on the previous slides we're looking at, there are some. We're going to give a summary of the entire lecture slide. Then we'll look at some filling questions and how you can answer them. So, looking at the summary of this particular one. So, giving a summary on the background to elections in Ghana, the foundation of Ghana's electoral politics were laid during the colonial period, where the Gold Coast consisted of 4 territories, which was the colony, which was the South, the Ashanti, the Northern Territory, and the British Trans-Volta Togoland. These areas were brought under British control at a different time, where they were unified into one, become Ghana as independent in 1957. So colonial administration, the British governor representing the Queen, the Crown or the Queen, held wide powers. So they are assisted by the Executive Council, which is the EC, the Executive Council then, and then the Legislative Council. For many years, both bodies were dominated by Europeans, with Africans included mainly as appointees or representing chiefs or commercial interests. Until 1946, the governor always ensured an official majority, limiting Africa's influence. Constitutional and electoral reforms. In 1925, Guggisberg's Constitution first introduced the elective principle. 3 municipal representatives from Accra, Cape Coast, and Sekedi Takrady were elected directly, whilst chiefs were chosen indirectly via provincial councils. So this marked the beginning of the electoral politics. The 1946 Barnes Constitution expanded Africa's participation. So we now had 5 members were directly elected, including from Kumasi for the first time, and created an unofficial majority in the LC, the Legislative Council. Ashantis were included through the Northern Territory remained whilst the Northern Territory remained excluded. So 1947, the formation of the United Gold Coast Convention, the UGCC, the first political party led by the figure like J.B. Dankwa and Pa Grant. Kwame Nkrumah became its Secretary General, but later broke away to form the CPP. So in 1948, the rout and the aftermath. So the rout sparked by economic hardship, a boycott of European goods, and the shooting of the ex-servicemen that led to the arrest. So the arrest of 6 UGCC leaders, later called the Big Six, turned them into national heroes. The Watson Commission in 1948 investigated the rout and then declared the Barnes Constitution outmoded at birth, recommending that Gold Coasters draft their own constitution. This led to the Coussey Committee in 1946, which produced the 1950 and 1951 Constitution. So, towards election, the Coussey report paved the way for the 1951 general election, the first in Gold Coast history. Though Nkrumah CPP initially rejected the committee's proposal as bogus and fraudulent, the CPP campaign of positive action and mass mobilization soon reshaped the political scene, setting the stage for self-government. So having on the backdrop of this and having to move to our filling questions on the backdrop of this, as in where you're going to look at solving some short filling questions, background to elections in Ghana, 1951. So the first question we want to ask is, name the 4 broad territories that came together to form independent Ghana. And these 4 broad territories are the colony, the Southern Ghana, Ashanti, Northern Territory, Trans-Volta Togoland, which is the British Togoland. Question number 2. What is the difference between roles of the Executive Council and the Legislative Council? The Executive Council assisted the governor in implementing policy and was made up of what appointed officials, evolving later into the cabinet. So the Legislative Council, while the Legislative Council advised the governor on legislation and comprises both the official and non-official, eventually will develop into what parliament as well. So you can just end that as both the official and non-official can end it there. Question number 3. Explain the principle of official majority on the Executive Council. So that principle is that means that official appointees or official majority means that officials appointed by the governor always outnumber unofficial members in the Legislative Council, ensuring colonial administrators retain control over decisions. And then question number 4 has to do with saying that indicate any one factor to show that the governor had wide powers. So the governor was not bound to accept the advice of either the Executive Council or the Legislative Council. He could reject or accept this recommendation at will. So even though he was being advised by them, he could decide to say, I will go by the advice or not. So that's another indication of what the wide powers of the governor. So another one has to do with question number 5. Identify the two groups of Ghanaians that were appointed to the Legislative Council in 1916 by the Governor Clifford. So these two group of Ghanaians that were appointed to the Legislative Council in 1916 was the African the Africans representing the world interest of Africans, and then African representing special interests such as mining and commerce. And then question number 6, explain the significance of the 1925 Constitution in electoral terms. Explain the significance of the 1925 Constitution in electoral terms. So the 1925 Guggisberg Constitution introduced elective principle for the first time, allowing good coasters to be directly elected into the Executive Council rather than being appointed solely by the governor. So in 1925, under the Guggisberg Constitution, the Executive Council were being elected for the first time, other than being appointed by the governor. Then going to the second one is how many provincial councils of chiefs were created under the 1925 Guggisberg Constitution. The Provincial Council of Chiefs. So three that were created under it was 3 that were created under the 1925 Guggisberg Constitution, which was the Western, Central, and then Eastern. Yeah. Question number 8. What was the electoral rule of the So the Provincial Council of Chiefs under the 1925 Guggisberg Constitution. So the Provincial Council of Chiefs acted as electoral college, indirectly electing 6 chiefs or their representative to the Legislative Council. And then question number 9. The Barnes Constitution of 1947 introduced the principle of unofficial majority. So when we say explain, the principle of unofficial majority meant that for the first time, unofficial members, which are mostly Africans and non-governmental representatives, outnumbered official, or which is government appointees in the Legislative Council, giving Africans greater legislative influence. Question number 10. How many members of the Legislative Council were directly elected in 1946 under the Barnes Constitution? So, directly elected under the Barnes Constitution, there were 5 members of the Legislative Council were directly elected in 1946 under the Barnes Constitution. 5. Question number 11. Which 2 bodies elected the representative of the chiefs to the Executive Council under the 1946 Barnes Constitution? So under the 1946 Barnes Constitution, the Joint Provincial Council of Chiefs and then the Asante Council of Chiefs elected the chief representative to the Legislative Council under the 1946 Barnes Constitution? How many members of the Legislative Councils were directly elected in the 1946 and for which seat? So in the 1946 Legislative Council, 5 members were directly elected to represent municipal town, which is Accra had 2. Listen very well. Accra had 2. Cape Coast had 1 seat. Sekondi Takoradi had 1 seat. Kumasi had 1 seat. Accra 2, Cape Coast 1, Sekondi Takoradi 1, Kumasi 1. Directly elected Legislative Council members earned their seat in 1946. Question number 13. Identify any 2 leaders of that first political party. Identify any 2 leaders of that first political party, which is the 2 leaders of the first political party is the United Gold Coast Convention, the UGCC, were J.B. Dankwa and Pa Grant. Question number 14. Give any one reason for the outbreak of the 1948 rout. One reason for this outbreak, which was in the conclusion in the summary that was given earlier, was that the 1948 rout was the shooting of the unarmed ex-servicemen at the Christiansborg crossover following a boycott of European goods. Question number 15. Who became the Big Six in the politics of Gold Coast? And we all know them. The Big Six is J.B. Dankwa, E.O. Lamte, Akua J, Edward Akufo-Addo, William Oforiatta, and Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah. Then question number 16. Why was the Waxing Commission appointed? Why was the Waxing Commission appointed? Question number 16. Why was the Waxing Commission? The Waxing Commission was appointed to investigate the cause of the 1946 rout and make recommendation on constitutional and governmental reforms in the Gold Coast. Or you can say the Waxing Commission was appointed to investigate the cause of the 1948 rout. So then the question again has to do with who among the Big Six was excluded from the Coussey Committee. And this is simple. Kwame Nkrumah was the one excluded from the Coussey, and then he went to form his own party, call for immediate self-government now. And then 21. How was the report of the Coussey Committee linked to the 1950 Constitution? So the report of the Coussey Committee formed the basis of the new constitution called the Coussey Constitution, which was the 1950 Constitution. Then 22. Which group described the Coussey Committee report as bogus and fraudulent? And that was the CPP. The CPP. Why was the new constitution introduced in 1950 called the Arden-Clarke Constitution? So the new constitution introduced in 1950 was called Arden-Clarke Constitution because it was adopted during Governor Arden-Clarke's administration. 24. How were the municipal members of the Legislative Council chosen under the 1925 Guggisberg Constitution? So under the 1925 Guggisberg Constitution, municipal members of the Legislative Council were chosen by direct election held in the 3 municipal towns, Accra, Cape Coast, and Sekondi Takoradi. And then 25. Which political party was introduced in the Gold Coast in 1947? So the political party that was introduced, or the first was what the UGCC. Well, that was 1947. Yes. Then that is it for today. Thank you very much for making time, and I hope that you'll be able to play it over and over so that you'll be able to remember some of these filling questions. If you are supposed to be engaged in any type of questions like this, you'll be able to answer them or do your best. So please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.